I'm so excited to share that this podcast is sponsored by The RealReal, the best place to shop authenticated luxury bags, clothing, watches, and so much more. I'm obsessed with gold bracelets. I just found the most beautiful Fendi bracelet. Now, you can scour The RealReal for new pieces. There are 10,000 new items every day. The RealReal is attainable luxury that upgrades your personal style. With up to 90% off retail, you can finally have the pieces that you've been dreaming of from brands like Gucci, Fendi, and Prada. The RealReal is great for the planet and for your wardrobe. They're finding new homes for over 37 million authenticated luxury items, so they know firsthand the impact that resale has on the planet. And it's the go-to place for your next special piece. Think about all the fun things that you have coming this spring and summer. The RealReal is the world's largest and most trusted resource for authenticated luxury resale. With thousands of new arrivals daily, no one does resale like The RealReal. So now get $25 off your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/KateCasey. That's therealreal.com/KateCasey to get your $25 off. Start shopping now at therealreal.com/KateCasey. Let's be honest, nothing boosts confidence quite like great hair. But if you're seeing more strands in the shower, your confidence might not be at its highest. That's why you need Hers Hair. Hers Hair treatments are made with doctor-trusted prescription ingredients that many other hair products out there just don't have. They come in a variety of options, including oral and topical solutions, so you can find the one that works for you. Getting started is simple with a quick online hair quiz. Just answer some questions and you will be connected with a provider to discuss your personalized treatment plan. Through Hers, everything is 100% online, so no pharmacy trips, doctor's office visits, or insurance required, and plus, treatments start at just $35 a month. And the best part, you can get thicker, fuller, healthier hair and start seeing regrowth in as little as 3 to 6 months. Start your initial free online visit today at forhers.com/KateCasey. That's FORHERS.com/KateCasey for your personalized hair loss treatment options. forhers.com/KateCasey. Individual results may vary. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information.
The amazing Kate Casey.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey, and welcome back for this Saturday series episode. My guest today is MACKENZIE Barmen, an actress, comedian, writer, and content creator. She's cultivated a huge following online featuring comedic sketches, character portrayals, and satirical takes on pop culture. I first caught her videos, I'd say about a year ago, and you may have seen me repost her hilarious online series called 60 Somethings. Picture this, a cast of unforgettable characters, all played by MACKENZIE herself, brought to life using face filters. At the heart of it are two best friends, Maureen and Tina, two women who've been through it all and together. And in one of the show's most compelling twists, Tina reconnects with her high school boyfriend at a reunion and then realizes that she's still in love with him. The only problem, she's married to someone else who also went to their high school. I really enjoyed this conversation about how the series came to be, as well as her personal journey as both an actor and as a writer. Growing up in upstate New York with zero industry connections, she pursued acting, a pretty bold move considering how fiercely competitive the entertainment world can be. My favorite part of our chat was the need to have some level of delusion in order to be successful, believing in yourself so fiercely that it almost defies logic or evidence. I'm not talking about ignoring reality or pretending everything's fine when it's not. I'm talking about having such an unshakable belief in yourself and your vision that it borders on irrational. That kind of belief that makes people look at you sideways and say, "You really think you can pull that off?" And you say, "Yeah, I do." And even if you have no proof, no credentials, no roadmap. Because here's the truth. If you're doing something big, something original, most people won't get it at first. They'll doubt you. They'll project their own fears onto you. The world will give you 1,000 reasons to quit. But if you've got that spark, that delusional level of belief, you'll keep going. And that's what separates the people who almost made it from the people who did. And yeah, you've got to back up your work with discipline. You can't just sit around believing that you're a genius. You've got to prove it every day. But that belief, that's what gets you out of bed when nothing's working. That's what gets you back up after a rejection that perhaps would have crushed you. So if you've got a dream that sounds a little crazy to other people, good. Hold on to it, protect it, water it, be delusional. Because in reality catches up to the people who refuse to let go of the future that they've already believed in. Delusion with relentless discipline, it can become a vision. So here is my interview with MACKENZIE Barmen, and make sure you go follow her. You're going to love the videos. MACKENZIE, I'm so excited to talk to you. I've been totally sucked into your videos, but when you debuted this new series, 60-somethings, I was like, this is a girl after my own heart. So welcome to the show.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
You are so talented. This is such a funny series, but let's go back before that. Now, I know you're from upstate New York. You went to a SUNY school, a theater kid, and eventually you found your way to LA. But if we go back, you mentioned that you're the oldest of 4 kids. Tell me about your family. Are you from a family where they're all sort of campy, they're extroverts, they're creatives? What are they like?
Yeah, so nobody in the industry. We're an upstate New York, my dad's side is very kind of country. They live in the middle of nowhere. And then my mom's side was more Albany. So it was like,
Ooh.
But everyone's really kooky in my family. Like my aunts are really loud and funny. My mom is really funny. My dad's funny. Everyone has a big personality. So I kind of grew up around a lot of really loud people who were just funny. And when we'd have family parties, it was like a lot of laughter and like silliness. So I didn't grow up in the industry, but I grew up in a very silly, funny family. And it was really fun. Like we were very dysfunctional in a way. Like my parents were divorced when I was in 5th grade. So there was like that whole thing. And yeah, I'm the oldest of 4 siblings. So it was kind of just like chaos, growing up, but in like a really good way for the most part. Yeah.
Let's break down the siblings. So you're the oldest. And then what's after that? Sister,
I'm
brother?
the oldest.
Okay.
And then I have my brother, Cody. He's 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
And then my sister, Erica, is 3 years younger than Cody. So we're 5 years apart. And then my brother, Leif, is 4 years younger than my sister. Leif, very Norwegian.
Yeah.
None of them do what I do. They all work like regular jobs. My little brother, Leif, though, is the best at impressions I've ever heard anybody be. Like
wow.
he could be an impressionist. It's crazy, but he just like doesn't do it.
So you've mentioned that you kind of like were the mom. Your parents get divorced. Did they start dating other people?
Yeah. So my dad dated a few people. My mom got remarried to this man, Ralph, who has since passed away. So when we were living in Middleburg, New York. And then my parents got divorced. My mom and us 4 moved to Schenectady, New York.
Oh, okay.
And it was like basic visitation. We were always back and forth between both sides of the family. But yeah, it was this really weird time because I was like 10 years old. And my mom had never lived on her own with kids. So it was like, she was working. She had babysat a lot as supplemental income growing up. So now she like had a job and it was just like a very different shift in lifestyle. And so I definitely took on a very maternal role because I'm also a Taurus and I'm very like stubborn and bossy.
Yeah.
So I think my natural instinct was to like mother them. They would probably call me like bossy and mean. But yeah, I was very maternal to them, babysat them all the time and like, but yeah.
Well, do you find if you look back that you were always an observant person? Because I watch in your videos, like you really kind of hone into what like someone's picadillos, like what makes them specific. So were you an observant person?
Yeah, I think I've always been that way. I've always just been so interested in people and like interpersonal relationships, whether I was aware of it or not. Like I was always observing the way people interacted with each other, the way people would interact with people they knew as opposed to people they didn't know, and just these like little conversations. And I've always been a people watcher. And my college boyfriend used to get mad at me because we'd like go out to lunch and I'd just be watching people. And he's like, "You're so rude. Like, look at me and talk to me." And I'm like, "I'm sorry. I'm so distracted. Like there's interesting people around, So yeah, I've always been interested in people and dialogue specifically.
Well, when you start to decide, after high school, like what you're going to go into, is it a surprise to your parents that you wanted to go into like a creative field?
I don't think so. I think they've always been super supportive. I'm lucky. Like, even though they had no idea what the industry was at all. I mean, they were just like, yeah, I mean, you're really talented. You should do it. You should be whatever you want to be. And so I started doing theater in high school, kind of late, for actors. A lot of actors start when they're like kids, but I was like in high school and I was like, oh, this looks really cool. And I took acting class my freshman year and took it all 4 years of high school. We had a really good theater program in my high school. I went to Schenectady High School, and there was the John Sayles School of Fine Arts, which was like a wing of the high school, but it was its own kind of world. And so we had a black box theater, a main stage, and it was just this really amazing acting teachers. So it cultivated this like, ooh, I became obsessed with it in high school, but none of my friends did it. My friends were like normal girls who just didn't get it. And so they didn't actually hear me sing until senior year. I was in Guys and Dolls, and they were like, what is this? Like, we did not know you could do this.
Oh.
And I think I was just really anxious and shy about it because nobody did it, it wasn't in that world. But yeah, when I went to college, my like original plan was to go for early childhood education, because even at that time, I didn't really think, like, it wasn't really in my brain that it would be realistic yet to like be like, yeah, I'm going to be an actor.
Well, you're from upstate New York. You probably you're not meeting anybody that's like, oh, I got an agent.
Not at all. Not at all. So I remember specifically once having a conversation with my high school acting teacher, Tim Dugan, amazing guy. And we were talking about actors' equity. And I was like, what is actors' equity? Like, what is that? And he was like, oh, it's a union for actors. And he was a member of it. So he was like he was educating me about this thing. I was like I remember being fascinated. And I was like, someday I want to be in equity. I want to do that. And it just, these little tiny things started to piece together what an actor's life is in a way. And it was really my acting teachers in high school, because they were the only ones, Bill Ziskin and Tim Dugan, who nurtured that, and like they really took a liking to me, and they were really supportive of me and made me feel like I should do this, Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the idea of pursuing a field that you don't know anyone in, you don't have any connections, and it's a field that's like hard to explain to people, and it's so abstract. Like, you can go for an audition, you get it, you might not get it, you do get it. You don't know how long the series or the movie will last.
Yeah.
I feel like it requires a little bit of delusion.
For sure.
Right? Like you
sure.
have to believe in yourself and your talent more than anybody, because there's so much rejection.
I am completely delusional. But my delusion has gotten me so far.
Yeah.
Like, I'm also very stubborn, and I'm very like, if I say I'm going to do something, I have to do it. And I have to, like, there's almost like this element of like proving that I can do it and proving that it's possible. And there's this kind of like, ooh, like, how cool would it be to really make it and come from nothing, like come from
the best.
It's
the
like
best
that,
story.
And do it the right way, and do it without like hurting other people or like doing like weird things. Like, I want to see if I can do it really purely. And there's so many ups and downs with it, and I'm realizing now, I'm 34, and I'm finally starting to feel like I'm really starting to get it. Like, just now. And I've been I've been doing this since I was like 19. So it's like the learning curve is crazy when you don't come from a family that is in the industry or has any connection. It's like, it's crazy. It's a really crazy journey, because something that is common sense to somebody else will be a completely new concept for me. I remember I had this one audition once. I had gone to a workshop at Backstage, and there was a casting director workshop. And she then called me in for an audition for the show. And it was Royal Pains. I remember I went in for the audition, and I didn't know about sight lines. I didn't know really where you should look, And so I deliver this line, and I'm looking directly into the camera. she's so sweet. Because at that point, I'd only done theater. I'd only done stage stuff. And she was so sweet. And she was like, okay, that was great. Let's do it again. But this time, look as if you're looking at the person. And I had this moment of like,
yeah.
Why didn't I? But it's like, that's one of those things where it's common sense, but it's not if you don't know,
Yeah.
So it's an interesting journey.
Well, I also think the part of the beauty of the delusion is that when you do get rejected, you use it as fuel to get into the next door.
Yeah, I always say you have to have this unwavering belief in yourself.
Absolutely.
You have to just be so extreme in your self-belief. And I'm also a big believer in like manifesting. And like if you say something will happen for you, it will happen for you. You just have to kind of trust and open yourself up. And I do trust the universe a lot. Like I had a relative, it was like an extended relative, not someone I saw very often, but he was very just kind of like, so when are you going to give this up and, get a real job? This is, it's not going to happen. It's, he was very negative about it. And I remember just like looking at him and being like, no, I'm going to make it. Like, I'm going to, what are you talking about? And I remember it got under my skin because I was more irritated that he didn't have the same delusional, unwavering belief that I did. I'm like, how can you be so like that? Like, that's such a sad way to live. You got to go for it, Well,
I love this story too, because this is like, it's so emblematic of the time that I think 20 years ago, if you wanted to move to LA or New York and become an actor, there was a sequence of events you have to go through. And the chances of anyone finding you, getting an agent, getting in front of an audience was so much harder. In some ways, it's a little bit easier because of the advent of YouTube and social media.
Yeah.
When you started posting, when was the first moment where you thought, I gotta hang, I have something here. Like I'm connecting with people, but this is like a creative, like an unbelievable space for me to be super creative.
It was kind of totally accidental. I had started posting very randomly. I posted this one video. It was like a childhood ruined video where like I saw somebody posted a Facebook status about the 3 little pigs. And I was like, oh, that's funny. And so I made a video about it thinking it would go nowhere, And then the next day I woke up and it had kind of blown up. And so I was like, oh, I should like make another one, see what happens. And so I did it and I kept doing it every single day. And it got to the point where it was like 1 million followers within like a couple months.
Yeah.
And they were getting 1 million views within an hour. And I was like, whoa, something is happening. Like, this is really beyond me. But it was a very niche thing that I had accidentally stumbled into. And so people thought I was like a historian. It was kind of like crazy. I was like, no, I'm just an actress. And this is totally an accident. Like, I'm just leaning in. But I recognized that there was a formula to it. Like, I was like, okay, I'm using the same sound. I'm making the same kind of video and people are finding it. It's like popping up for people. So that was really when I was like, oh, this is like going. Like, and a manager reached out and then I started working with a manager. And before then I had such difficulty getting representation because I'm kind of like really hard to place. And I would always get like, oh, you're so good. We just don't know what to do with you. And I'm like, well, I don't really know what to do with me either. Like I was kind of, I had done musicals. I had done plays. I wanted to do drama, but I was good at comedy. And so it was this kind of like, I was always butting heads with myself. But yeah, that was when, it was in 2021 when things really started to kind of shape,
Yeah. Summer's almost here. It is my most favorite time of the year, and there's no better place to go for outdoor furniture than Wayfair. Wayfair's huge selection of outdoor essentials will help make your outdoor space more comfortable, functional, and most importantly, more you. Wayfair has all things outdoor and at unbelievable prices. So don't wait until summer's in full swing. You've got to get your outdoor space ready today so you can enjoy it all season long. I just love the look of white wicker in a backyard, and then to spruce it up with some blue or yellow pillows. Wayfair really has everything that you and I both need. Outdoor dining tables and sets, umbrellas, dining chairs, bar stools, grills, outdoor bars, even tableware. Their huge selection of home items makes it easy to find exactly what's right for you. And I gotta tell you, my favorite part, it is free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff. So no more huge delivery fees for patio furniture. You can get big stuff like patio sets, gazebos, hot tubs, and more shipped free. Shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture online. This summer, get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Okay, once the temperatures starts rising, I realized I was back to the same worn out rotation. Same tank, same shorts, same everything. So I gave my daily uniform an upgrade with Quince. Their pieces are easy, elevated, and somehow make me feel more put together without even trying. Like 100% European linen shorts and dresses from $30. Luxe swimwear, Italian leather platform sandals, and so much more. And the best part, everything with Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than what you'd find at similar brands. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury without the markup. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices in premium fabrics and finishes. Go get yourself the Oxford Relaxed shirt. I got mine in pale blue. You're going to wear it all the time and you're going to love it. Treat your closet to a little summer glow up with Quince. Go to quince.com/KKC for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's quince.com/KateCasey to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/KateCasey. Well, what's incredible too is like it was all improv.
Yeah.
And this is where I feel like there's this thing like I could only call a mad genius. Like everyone kind of has to tap into their own. And your mad genius is that you're improvising it, but you're kind of running through it in your head. I think a lot of people would have to map it out. You're just kind of working on the fly. And I'm wondering if part of that mad genius is you're sort of tapping into all the observations, the picadillos, the things you tried, like the little comedic acts you tried out on your siblings and your friends. Like you're accessing all of those things and putting it into these moments that you are capturing on video.
I had this acting teacher in New York. His name was Anthony Abeson, amazing guy. And he would basically throw a bunch of stuff at us, different techniques and methods and, teachers and whatever. And then he'd say, okay, now take it all and throw out all of it. And then, just soak it all in and then throw it all out. And so that's kind of been my method is like, I have all these techniques and methods in my head and they kind of just bubble together and create the thing that comes out. But it's weird. It's like it happens without me really thinking too much about it. It's like, I feel like I'm like built, like it's so corny, but like I feel like like I am meant to be an actor. It's just like like my teacher used to say, like we are we're the descendants of like witches and wizards and warlocks. Like we have a magic to us, like actors and creators. And I do feel that like it's a weird, I can just tap into it. So yeah. And I it's funny because I always for the longest time was like, I'm not a writer. I don't sit and write, so I'm not a writer. And it was actually Cole Escola who told me, they were like, no, you are a writer. Like you just write backwards. Like you do it and then you can write it, And so ever since then I've been, I am, all of these things.
I think that's interesting to point out too, is that we don't always have the same creative process. Like sometimes writers, I'll say to somebody, start in the middle. Like there's this belief that you have to do things a certain way. And I think that's pretty profound what you said. I write backwards.
And I think we're especially, if you're an actor coming up and you're going to casting director workshops and you're taking classes, you have a lot of conflicting things that people are telling you. It's like, you have to make sure you learn your lines for an audition. But then somebody else will say, no, don't worry about learning the lines. Like that's not what's important. And then somebody will say, oh, you need to make sure that you are following this technique. And then somebody else will say, no, throw that technique out. It doesn't work for you. Do that. So and like the things that you shouldn't do, you should do. Like don't email the casting directors. No, some of them do like being emailed. Like there's so much conflicting information that you're given as an actor and so many rules to follow that it kind of becomes this thing where it's like when you break the rule, that's when people are like, oh, because there's so much structure being thrown at us. And then for me, I know that for the longest time, I felt this anxiety of like imposter syndrome of like, this is not I don't really belong in this world. And I feel like I'm like trying to be something. And I still battle with that. Like I still feel sense of anxiety a lot of the time. But I've realized that like the most successful people they really march to the beat of their own drum and they do what they want and people fall in line around that.
Yep.
And I've kind of adapted that. And that is like the thing that really works. Like I feel more myself right now doing the 60 somethings than I've ever felt doing anything.
Well, also, it sounds like when you're super creative and then you go into a space where there are all these rules, you start to overthink things and you kind of lose what is your superpower, which is this ability to just sort of listen, take in your observations, and then kind of be like free-spirited in your approach. And you get too in your head when someone throws out all of these rules.
Yeah. And I like, you tend to like kind of make yourself a little smaller to fit into the idea of what you think casting directors want. Or, you know, if I would get an audition for something, I would be like, okay, how do they want this part to be? Like, what are they looking for? And like, you have to like be mindful of that. But at the same time, I've realized that like, no, I'm just going to do what I want to do. I'm going to do it as if I've already gotten the part. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I like have really adapted the like, there's so much out of my control. And for the longest time, I was trying to like make sure I was in control of everything, like everything but now I'm just like, oh, whatever. If it happens, it happens. If it does, you know, and it is a very freeing feeling. Yeah. But yeah, it's tough. It's a really tough industry because you kind of have to know all the ins and outs and you don't learn those right away. You have to like, you have to fail a lot, you know? So
do you feel like, I mean, I'm in the podcast industry, so it's different, but do you feel like people are generous with information and resources, or do you have to kind of like figure it out on your own?
I feel like there are a few people who have been like really generous with me, but I feel like for the most part, I've had to figure a lot of it out on my own. But I will say, I'm sure that people have been generous with me and I haven't realized it. Like, I'm sure but I'm also a very hyper independent person. So I have this kind of thing where I'm like, I have to do this on my own and prove that I can do it all by myself. And that's also something I'm shaking. But yeah, I mean, there is like a little bit of it depends on who the people are. Because in this, you know, in the influencer-y space, I don't consider myself an influencer at all, but there is this kind of sense of competition too, you know? So but I try to shake that too. I try to really just let everything go. But yeah, there have been some people that have been really generous with me and just kind. Like I've connected with people who I really, really admire, like people whose work I'm like, you are one of my favorite actors and you like my stuff. And that is just like,
what is that like?
It is
trippy.
It is so surreal. And it's like a switch flips and it's like you elevate to this other level of like what being an artist is. Like I can feel the elevator moving up. It's a really weird feeling.
Well, tell me about the 60-somethings, because I had been watching the videos that you do with a lot of the other creators, which are absolutely hilarious. But this is so masterful, the way that you do this. And for being 34 years old, I think it's such a crack up that you focus on an age group that's like 3 decades older. I just kept thinking, she must be accessing experiences that she's had with like relatives and teachers and people in town. So what made you focus on 60-somethings and the mechanics of all of the filters and coming up with the different characters?
Well, it was totally random. I was randomly playing with Snapchat filters one day, which I do a lot because it's just fun and it's inspiration and stuff. And I did this I did 2 different characters as if they were FaceTiming each other. And I was totally improvised. I wasn't even really thinking about it, but I thought it was funny. I would randomly post little carousels of characters on Instagram. And so this was just one of them. It was these 2 women. It was the 2 lead women, Maureen and Tina, who were unnamed at that time. But people were commenting and they really liked it. And so I was like, oh, let me do another one. Like, let me make a video of these 2 women like having a coffee talk or something.
Well, like explain who Maureen and Tina are.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Maureen and Tina are these fictional characters that are the leads of the 60-something series. They are these 2 women in their 60s, very like East Coast,
love it.
Tired women who are just drinking their coffee and they're just like, they feel like they're from, like it almost feels to me like this takes place in like the 80s or the 70s. Like, they don't feel really modern to me, but it's kind of in this timeless space. Like, I don't know, it doesn't really exist. But but they're just these two long-term best friends who have been friends since probably middle school. And
describe Maureen.
Maureen is, she's an anxious woman with like a really big heart, but she is very blocked. She's very tentative about what she does. She's very traditional. She's very like, she's married to this guy who, she got married to him because she got pregnant, and which was actually kind of what happened with my parents. And she just has a lot of and she reunites with her high school boyfriend who she was deeply in love with. And it's like, she's having this internal battle of like, do I choose myself? Do I choose, like, she just deals with a lot of anxiety. Whereas Tina, on the other hand, is so loose and like free and content with her marriage and just like happy and goofy and doesn't really give a shit. And she like lets her neighbor mess with her mail because it's funny. And like, they're completely different people, but they are like sisters. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
Well, also, Tina's always wearing a cowboy hat. She's got a shit ton of makeup on, and she's like hypersexual.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Maureen is like so uptight.
Yeah.
And you know that she's never like had a real good time with anybody. Yeah. And the fact that they're so different and connected is so funny.
Thank you.
The part where like they're always drinking out of coffee mugs. And Tina's always like finding like the weirdest coffee mug. Where does that come from?
So we are a big coffee family. I'm drinking coffee right now, actually. We're a big coffee family. My grandma had so many mugs. She had a mug cabinet. And so when we would have dinner, there's always coffee after dinner at my grandma's house. We'd all sit around the table. Everyone would drink coffee. I couldn't start drinking coffee until I was like 15, because they wouldn't let me. But my grandma just had this eclectic mug collection. And it was like some of them were grandma mugs, some of them were Norwegian mugs, some of them were just mugs she picked up. And so I have a big mug collection. And it's just a thing in my family. We just drink a lot of coffee. And we would have coffee talk. And like my aunts would even say like, let's have coffee talk. Like it was very like, just sit and gab. And growing up, I thought everyone did that, but I guess not. I guess not all families sit around and drink coffee, but mine surely did. And so that's really where it came from. Just like this natural thing I knew.
So you put the first maybe video out or maybe the second one, and it's just the two of them. And from there, where do you go? Okay, I could like build a whole television show, like 30 somethings out of this.
Yeah. Well, so the coffee talk, the first video I did of the two of them together, they had mentioned their high school reunion. That's why they were pre-gaming for their high school reunion by having coffee. And then people started commenting like, oh my God, we have to see the reunion. We have to you have to bring them to the reunion, like whatever. And so I was like, okay, let's go to the reunion. And then I was like, okay, let's find other players. Let's find other characters to play with. And so I was going through the Snapchat filters and I just kind of chose whatever filters spoke to me and which ones kind of felt the most realistic looking. Because some of them, are not as good. But as soon as I put the filter on, the character is there. I'm like, oh, I know who this person is. I know how they talk. I know how they walk. I know everything about this person. And so I filmed the high school reunion episode and introduced a couple other people. I introduced Keith, because Keith was mentioned in the first episode. So I had to bring him in, and then Bobby and Catherine. And it just kind of like this little ensemble just kind of formed. And people just really liked it. And so I was really enjoying it. I was like, this is the kind of work I actually want to do. Like this kind of weird genre blend of like, it's comedy, but it's also really mundane and slow and kind of boring, but not boring. I love that. Like it's very relaxing. And it's also funny and it's like soapy. And I was like, this is like fun work. It didn't feel like, oh, I'm just making videos for social media. It felt like, oh, this is kind of elevated, which I'm always trying to do with my content in a way. But yeah, it's just so fun.
Well, it does feel like elevated storytelling. And I like that you kind of explore what your parents' lives may have been like. This is a set of friends, but you also start to go, like, I wonder what my parents' lives were like and who were they in high school with? I mean, I was the kind of kid who sat on my mom's floor and would go through her yearbook and ask all these questions.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you said it is sort of timeless, it does.
Yeah.
There's something that's very sweet and just kind of like safe about it, where you kind of pull yourself out of your life and you imagine this set of people who have lives well lived.
Yeah.
And also, like, what would have been the side door moments? You know, like the fact that Maureen is looking back at her life going, how would my life have changed if I had been with the guy that I was really in love with? And then you added the element in one of the recent episodes of her daughter.
Yeah.
And there was like this like cliffhanger moment where she found a letter in the drawer. It's like, I kept thinking, this could go on forever.
I know. Well, the idea of it is I'm trying to make it like the length of a film. We're almost there, but I will continue it after, but I'll have an ending so that I can cap it as a film. Because what I really want to do is I want to rent a theater and I want to screen it as if it's
you have to.
I need to do it. I want to sell like merch. I want to have hot pina coladas. I want to like do all the things, the hats,
the mugs.
There has to just be, I want it to be like a tiny little like 60 somethings con. Like it's like this little like thing, you know? But I love these characters so much. And I've also always been drawn to older people. Like I've always been more friendly. Like so I did a lot of theater. I did a lot of regional theater at this theater, Pendragon, when I was in college. And I spent my summers around these people who were much older than me. And I was really always the youngest one there. And it was the best. And I feel like that's where my love of older people come from, older than me. You know, I don't think 60 is old, but I just love that generation. I love older people. And I find like their lives are so interesting.
Well, you know what it is? They're authentically themselves.
Yeah.
You care less
themselves
as you get older.
Yeah.
And you have a better, like people that are younger, you know, they're sort of trying to fit themselves into the world that they think they should live in. And there's something really freeing about older people who are just open and honest about like what they've been through.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're also, older people are so kind to younger people, I find. They're like, make mistakes, go for it. You don't deserve that. And sometimes our contemporaries were not as generous too.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, my generation, and the younger generations, because of technology and stuff, it's like there is a disconnect with like communicating with people and having random conversations with strangers. Like we're not doing that really. But I did that a lot growing up. Like I was always, because I was surrounded by older people, we would have deep, heartfelt conversations. And I felt like I was like an older person with them. Like we would, and they really trained me to be very social and very observant. And like these people, not only were they older, but they were actors. And so there was so much wisdom they imparted on me, and like watching them do their craft and like practice. And it just really all shaped me.
Mm-hmm. When I put together my bag each day, I need the essentials, my wallet, my keys, and I also need my Liquid IV, which is helping me stay hydrated throughout the whole day. You can break the mold and own your own ritual with just one stick and 16 ounces of water, which hydrates better than water alone. Powered by Hydroscience, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration, 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink. 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. And I gotta tell you, the best flavors. You have a multitude of flavors, acai berry and lemon lime to pina colada, or you can choose from their line of sugar-free flavors like raspberry lemonade, white peach, and rainbow sherbet. Get ready for a long day with extraordinary hydration from Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code Kate Casey at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code Kate Casey at liquidiv.com. Summer's just around the corner, and the folks at Mint Mobile have a hot take. Getting a summer bod is out, and getting your savings bod is in. This spring and summer, we want skimpy wireless bills and fat wallets. And with premium wireless plans for just $15 a month, you can have both without breaking a sweat or the bank. And let me tell you, the quality of Mint Mobile's wireless service in comparison to my old provider is mint. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/realitylife. That's mintmobile.com/realitylife. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. The one thing I worry about, though, is what if they get rid of one of those filters? They cannot do that. You have to be in communication with Snapchat. They cannot do that.
I know they can't. They can't. I think about that sometimes, but as long as I can finish the movie, But I know, and I'm kind of I have a pitch deck for it because I really want to develop it into an actual show. I think that there's a place for it on TV, and something that I love about it is that it really is uniting an audience. The audience is so wide. I have people who are older that watch it. I get messages from women in their 60s who are telling me that they're obsessed with it. And I have girls in their early 20s that are babe, I love this. Oh my God, I'm obsessed. And I'm this is, and I have middle-aged men who are messaging me and they're I can't believe I'm crying over this. And I'm
oh, wow.
There's something in it. There's this joie de vivre. It's this, because it takes place in a play. It's grounded in reality, but it's very surreal. And I think that people are it's real, but it's not, but it is, but it's not. And it's a fun ride to be on. We don't really know where they are. They're kind of weird people and they don't really act like we do, but they do. And I love that juxtaposition. I love the real with the really absurd, Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about you too last night. Somebody said rhubarb and I was oh, rhubarb. He's trying to get it on the menu. It's just it is kind of funny. The stuff that it's just, I always pay attention to the most obscure, specific things. And I think that that's another part that I really like. The last thing I love about it is it's a woman and that you came up with this. And I'm just so excited to see what happens with it. I think in the end, your strength was obviously that you believed in yourself more than everybody.
Yeah.
But you didn't do things the way that you were expected, like writing backwards, for example. You came up with the concept of an ensemble show, which could become a series. And it was based off of something that seems so silly, just these filters. But you probably are going to create a whole new genre because of it.
I hope so. I've been a fan of genre blending for a while. And I think it's the future of TV and film. I think that it's, I really do feel 60-somethings could be a really big bridge somehow. I don't really know the extent of it, but it feels really special. And I feel people who are watching it, their validation and the comments and I'm no, this is what people want. This is the kind of stuff, because it's everything packaged into one, it's people are I'm crying with Maureen, but then I'm watching them play Twister in the other room and I'm cracking up. And it's it's almost when you're scrolling through social media and you'll see a dog video and then you're crying and then you scroll and then you see something really funny and it's really your brain, it's almost it's mirroring that sensation a little bit of switching back and forth. But I don't know. Yeah, I really hope that it can become something because it feels, I don't know, it's so lush to me. These weird people. I love them.
I have friends that are actors and I find their insights into with the things they pick up on in reality shows are so fascinating. I think they pick up on things the layperson does not pick up on because they have to study so much about movement and dialogue and all of that. So when you're watching a show like The Valley, what's jumping out at you about them?
I feel The Valley specifically, it's very dark, first of all, I will say. Dark. But, my opinions probably aren't as drastic because they kind of give it all to you.
True.
But I can always pick up on people's real motives and like when people are masking and when they're not masking, like when you're covering something up. And sometimes I can't even eloquently put it into words, but I'm so aware of what people are feeling and thinking. And if they're pretending or if they're whatever, like right now I'm hyper fixated on Jesse and Michelle because I'm just fascinated by this dynamic. Like, did she cheat? I'm pretty sure she did. But does she have to admit that? No. Is she like...
And do we understand why she cheated? Yes.
Exactly. He's a terrible narcissistic. I can't stand that man. Like, he scares me. But yeah, I pick up on all the little micro things and like the dynamics between people and like,
yeah. You know, now that I think about it, there is a little bit of Maureen and Michelle.
I think so.
Where she's like stuck and she's like, here I am with this guy. Well, it just sounds like your parents, you know, they got married and they had a child and then they're like, now we're stuck together. What do we do?
Yeah.
Right.
I guess we love each other and have 3 more. Yeah.
Okay, what about Nia and Danny?
Nia and Danny. So I really love them. I think Danny has an alcohol problem for sure. I think that there's this pageantry about her where she is there's definitely a mask a lot of the time. But I think, you know, the vibe that I get is that she's been in that world for so long that it has become who she is, you know, like she is authentically herself. It's just a masked version because she's been masked for most of her life, probably. So I would love to see her break out of that, but I don't even know if she would know how, because that's who she is. And I kind of love her for it. You know, I really like her a lot. And I really like Danny. Like, to me, he genuinely seems like a good person who just has a little bit of an alcohol problem.
And with the pressure of all the
babies.
kids. And, you know, it's, as you know, it's stressful about how you're going to get new jobs. And now he has to pay the hospital bill for the next baby. And
and there's this angst of like being an actor who has been successful. And it's like, it almost feels like there's probably this element of he wants to use this show to like catapult him further and stuff. It's this tricky thing because I do feel like because he's probably a really good actor. I really don't know him from I don't think I've really seen his stuff, but I get the sense that that's a lot for him too. Like, you know, a big overwhelming thought is like, what's the next big thing for me? You know?
What about Janet?
Janet, she's a hard for me to get a pulse on because the Dave and Buster's day was revealing to me. I'm like, this girl seems like a girl I would have been friends with like in high school. Like she
from
seems
Ohio.
Like she seems like a very normal person, like thrust into this life. And so she's kind of overcompensating maybe a little bit for trying to like be in the drama of things. I don't love her. I don't hate her. I kind of feel indifferent to Janet. Yeah. But no hate toward her.
What about Brittany and Jax?
Oh God. Jax is never going to change. That man will be this way for the rest of his life, unfortunately. I don't think he actually has any real desire to change. I think he thrives on chaos. I think that he'll say things like, oh, I want to change. I want to get help. He doesn't mean it. I don't think he means it whatsoever. I think he is so narcissistic that he doesn't actually know what it really means to love somebody else. I think he knows what it's supposed to feel like. And I think he knows what it's supposed to look like. And so he demonstrates that, or he's tried to demonstrate that. But I don't think he actually feels it, you know? And I think poor Brittany, I think that she genuinely, because I've been in the situation where you think you can change a person. You think you can be the person to change them and you can be the thing they need. And I think that she really tried that with Jax. And I think now she's realizing that that was never going to happen. And she has made the biggest mistake. And I think that she's just realizing that and letting it all out and being like, you know what? I can't change you. Let's just air all this out because I'm done. I'm done trying to protect you. And I really admire her for that. I really do. And I like her. She seems to me like a lovely person, like a genuinely good person. Yeah. And I'm kind of buddies with Zach in real life.
Well, I just found out that he was an assistant to Nicole Scherzinger, and she said he always wanted to be a reality star. And I thought, good for him. He landed exactly where he wanted to be.
He's so reality TV, and he's such a nice guy, like in real life. Like I went to an event with him, and we had met a couple of other people in the business, and he was like, "She is so funny. She's amazing. She's the best. You need to know her." And that's that's the kind of person he is. And he is so gossipy and like he's perfect for reality TV. But I think he's also so genuine and blunt in a good way. You know, he's the kind of guy who will always comment on your stuff and like be visible. And I love that. Like that's a good trait, you know? Who else is on that show? Who else is there?
Jasmine.
Oh, Jazz. I feel kind of indifferent. I don't know enough about Jasmine. Are you caught up? Did you watch the last episode with Danny?
I did. Yeah.
I felt like that was so blown out of proportion.
Yeah. Well, everything is for sure. But I think, you know, having kids of my own, I think he's really just stressed out about finances. Men stress out about that. And women like Nia, who really love having babies, there is sort of this space when you have newborns where you're in this like bliss.
Yeah.
Where she's like, it's all going to work out. And he's like running through the numbers.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to live in Santa Clarita, but he's like, let's be honest, like we can't afford it here. And I think he's probably drinking because he doesn't know where to place his emotions. Well, I thought it would be funny if the way we close out is as Maureen or Tina or both give the Valley some advice. Like those characters, what advice would they give to the cast members of the Valley?
Tina is like, she's, because Maureen is more like up here. She's more like normal. Like she talks kind of like whatever, but Tina's more down here. She's more in the throat and in the chest. So I'll give advice as Tina to the people of the Valley. Okay. Listen, you got to just live your lives and you just got to go for it. If a man is a piece of shit, you let him go and you don't talk to him again. You don't give him access to you because when you give access to these crazy men, they're going to do abusive things. They're never going to change. All right. Jax is never going to change. Get him out. Put him on an island. Put him somewhere very far away where he doesn't have a cell phone. Don't let him call you or text you. If he does call you or text you, don't answer the phone. You have to completely cut him out. All right. He's done. There's no hope for him. Give it up. Who else can we talk about? Jesse, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're just calling her. You're throwing names around like whore and slut and all these things. What are you doing? She's the mother of your child. You're out of your mind. You're never going to get anywhere good by talking to Michelle like this. All right. You just go live your life with your shiny sunglasses and your little bougie hats. Go to a winery and go live in wine country with your girlfriend. Get out of her life. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. The women just need to get away from these men.
Totally.
They need to get away from these men. They need to find somebody like my Jared, who's just going to do whatever they want. Men need to fall in line. And that's something that we all need to understand is that men are inferior to women. There is no arguing about it. Women are better than men, period. And men need to understand that. And the best men do, period. Drop the mic.
I love that, but like every video begins with like, they have to have coffee. They have to have coffee. It's too good.
No, I love that.
Too good. Well, tell everybody where they can follow you, where they can watch all of these hysterical videos.
Yeah, guys, follow me on Instagram. It's at Mackenzie Barmen. Also follow me on TikTok at Mackenzie Barmen. I need to upload these to YouTube, but I'm also on YouTube if you want to follow me there. Yeah, Mackenzie Barmen everywhere. That's my at on every social.
Well, pleasure to meet you, and I'm excited for you. And the sky's the limit.
Thank you. This was so fun. I loved it.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my great guest, Mackenzie, and remind you to click subscribe. Please leave a 5-star review. Jump into the Facebook group Reality Life with KKC if you want to talk about all my episodes this week and also the pop culture stories. You can get my must-watch list of what to watch in unscripted TV by going to katecasey.substack.com. And also you can get bonus episodes. Don't miss out on those. You can get them by going to Patreon, patreon.com/KKC. And please follow me on social media too. I'm on Instagram at KKCCA, TikTok, it's KKC, and Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at KKC. Check back next week for my What to Watch list, but also a fantastic round of guests.
With the Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One, you earn unlimited 2% cash back on every purchase. And you get big purchasing power, so your business can spend more and earn more. Stephen, Brandon, and Bruno, the business owners of SandCloud, reinvested their 2% cash back to help build their retail presence. Now that's serious business. What could the Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One do for your business? Capital One. What's in your wallet? Find out more at CapitalOne.com/SparkCashPlus. Terms apply.